Let's get to a story from Western Canada now. Alberta's premier is set to escalate her feud with the federal government over Ottawa's proposed clean energy regulations. For the very latest on Danielle Smith's move to invoke the Sovereignty Act, we're joined now live by CTV's Tony Grace. All right, Tony, so break this down for us. What are some of the political experts saying about the idea of using the Sovereignty Act for the first time?
Yeah, Beatrice, good morning. Good to be with you. Well, some of the analysts we spoke with are saying that this could really just be a way for Danielle Smith to try to get the federal government to come back to the table and keep negotiating targets that would be more in Alberta's favor, targets that Alberta feels would be more achievable. Look, Danielle Smith has already drawn what she's called some lines in the sand. The federal government's cap on emissions, that being one of them. Another one of them being the draft goal to get to a net zero electricity grid by 2035. Danielle Smith arguing that that's going to put the province's power companies and power grid at risk. She's hoping for something closer to 2050 or that type of a time frame. At any rate, it takes the battle between Alberta and Ottawa to another level if this act is invoked. We're going to find out this afternoon exactly what Danielle Smith's plans are. She's going to be speaking to reporters with some cabinet ministers, and then there is supposed to be a motion tabled in the legislature. It's widely expected to be relating to the Alberta Sovereignty Act. And we'll find out exactly what the mechanics of that look like. But political analysts are also pointing out, Beatrice, that it's one thing to use the act to fight something like a law or a policy, perhaps quite another to fight a goal or a target. So we're going to have to see how this plays out. A lot of constitutional experts watching this closely, and as the nation watches this back and forth between Alberta and Ottawa over energy regulations.
And there's very little that Alberta's premier and the prime minister agree on, especially when it comes to energy and those targets. You mentioned, Tony, that the details, we're going to learn them this afternoon. But where could this showdown go next once the Alberta premier lays her cards out on the table?
Well, look, it's entirely possible that a showdown over a constitutional question, such as the jurisdiction that the provinces have or don't have, or their ability to reject federal laws or policies, something like that could end up in the courts, according to some of the political analysts we're talking with, and that's where it would ultimately get decided. So a lot of analysts saying, look, it's in the interest of both sides, the federal government and Danielle Smith's government, to keep working this out. I did get a statement from Federal Environment Minister Stephen Guilbeault's office, who said that they would like to keep collaborating with Alberta and saying that these energy goals are going to have flexibility to accommodate Alberta's needs. But as far as we know right now, Beatrice, they're not actually going to be talking about this to each other anytime soon. All we know is that Alberta's next move is going to be laid out this afternoon.
Yeah, this is a story that is to be continued. CTV's Tony Grace reporting live. Tony, thanks for this.
Thanks, Beatrice.